Hey everyone, welcome to That Pedal Show. Viewers, comments and questions. Dan here.
Mick here, hello. Buono estente.
Scotcho!
Hello friends, that was my fault. I didn't turn the audio on. Oh, I haven't set the podcast to record either. Despite the reminder from BV. Too many flipping things going on.
There are lots of things going on. It's a public holiday here in the UK. But it's another public holiday next Monday in the UK. So we're going to have that one off because Charlie's sitting on the throne. Going to have a big thing happening.
Being crowned as the King of England. And I suppose some other countries. Hello, welcome.
Indeed.
If you can hear a dog, that's Rosie, who has rolled in other animal excrement twice today and therefore has had to have 2 showers. Watering can showers that she has.
And still quite the formidable scent.
Yes. There's lots of theories.
Stings the nostrils.
There's lots of theories as to why they do it.
Because they love it.
Yeah, I think that's the main.
They're just into it.
Yeah, that's the main answer, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, welcome everyone to viewer comments and questions on this. Is it Labour Day in the US? Is that what happens on the 1st of May? Or was that the last one?
It might be.
Let us know. It might not be. Oh no, I've just hit update and I did not mean update. Later, remind me tomorrow. Yeah. Thank you to everyone who's joining us from around the world.
Yeah.
We have Raf Freitas is in. Thank you to BV for moderating.
Yes, thank you, BV.
Thank
you
you,
superstar
BV.
champion.
We've got Ben Cove in. We've got Matt McGrath. Let's see. When will the Noel Gallagher episode be aired, says Mitchell McLeod. Probably not next Friday, maybe the Friday after that, and possibly the Friday after that, depending on a few machinations that have to machinate before it can go out. Not least, I've got to fix the flipping voice audio, which is full of hum from a Marshall Valve State 8080, a 1960s WEM combo, a Vox AC50 and a Vox AC30, all of which were left cranked the whole thing. And like an idiot, I didn't turn them off because I was too gobsmacked at being in a room with Noel Gallagher. Anyway, it's savable.
Yeah, no, it'll be good. It'll be good. There's some very clever software. Get the AI on it, Mick. Get the AI on it. But the AI would probably replace me.
Yeah, unfortunately, the AI, despite the acronym, is only as intelligent as the idiot that's using it.
Okay.
Artificial idiocy, in my case.
Right, fair enough.
So yeah. Dave Clark, greetings from wet Belfast, Maine. Yeah, the weather's been pretty rubbish here as well, actually.
Yeah. Devon Doherty, morning from damp Los Angeles.
Yeah, damp Los Angeles.
Did it rain when you were there?
It was cold.
No.
I mean, I'm not being funny. You don't go to California and expect it to be cold, do you?
No.
I don't, anyway. Certainly not in April. Iron Wolf 1776 is on. Ranzer is on. Mickey DTI7.
Mickey D.
Mickey DTI7. Michael Giliberto is on. Jeff Harper.
Albus Band.
Steve Harvey. Hey Aaron. Evan Diebold. Or Diebold. Hobo Rody. Michael Hayden. We have lots and lots of people on. I'm going to turn the super chats off now because we have quite a lot in. So if you've super chatted up until this point, you shall be answered. You shall go to the ball. If you have not, that'll be that.
St. Lucius watching from South Dakota in the good old USA. Alfonso Cogliano, greetings from South Italy. Ah, such a beautiful place. And Nick Tilleros, greetings from Bamberg, Germany. I don't know Bamberg. Is it near Hamburg?
Bamberg is where Toman is.
Oh,
Isn't
okay.
Isn't it? I thought Bamberg was where Toman was. Am I wrong about that?
KJ Fodder says Labour Day is at the end of summer.
Apologies.
Apparently you don't wear white after Labour Day.
Oh, I don't wear white anyway. There's too much problematization with laundry.
Too much political dramas wearing white.
My washing machine is from the last century, though it does say white and coloured, separated on the dial there.
Right.
I don't wear white clothing because it always ends up grey very soon.
Right.
I can't launder white clothing.
I think that's the idea, though, because if you can wear white clothing, it's supposed to show, well, I'm only wearing this once, and then it goes in the bin. It's a marker of
yeah, wealthy people
prosperity.
do always wear white clothing, don't they? It's like, look how wealthy I am. Hi from Philly, D&M, says Raph Freitas. Hello to Philly.
G'day, mate.
And indeed the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I'm doing a friend's birthday acoustic gig, and I think I will only play Irish acts as an Easter egg. I'm doing the Cranberries, Thin Lizzy, Damien Rice, G. Hansard, who I apologise, I don't know who that is.
I don't know that either.
And U2. Any others?
Oh yeah.
Do some Pogues.
Do some Pogues. What's the three girls and the brother? What are they called?
Not Bewitched. No. The Cause.
The Cause.
Named after the famous Irish beer.
Yeah. do a Father Ted bit.
Yeah. My Lovely Horse.
Yeah.
By Father Ted and Dougal. Well, predominantly by Dougal, to be fair.
There's that great episode of Father Ted where he keeps playing the specials. This town. It's the only record he has, and it's the church disco. And so for an hour, whenever they go back to the disco, it's, come and do your ghost town. So good.
Yeah, who else then? Irish acts. Who we're obviously missing somebody massive, aren't we?
Roy Gallagher.
Yeah, not for an acoustic gig probably. Although actually, to be fair, he did quite a lot of slidey bluesy stuff, didn't he?
Was it Truth? What was the band? Taste.
Taste, yeah.
Taste that he was.
Oh,
in.
hang on, like Boys One and the band that came after Boyzone.
Ozone.
No. They've had more number ones than
One Direction.
God and Oasis put together.
Yeah, no. But them. But what about Delamitri?
Scottish.
Oh, okay.
Same thing, just
Daniel R says Water Boys.
nice.
Very good. Young Dubliners.
Ronan
Dave,
Keating.
yep.
Oh God,
Gary Moore.
it's really
Big
doing
Country.
my head in.
Van Morrison. Bob Geldof.
At least one of Girls Aloud is from Ireland.
Okay.
Nadine. Van Morrison.
Van Morrison.
There you go,
Yeah.
Van Morrison.
There
Do
you go.
that one. The one that everyone does. Brown Eyed Girl.
Oh man, play that song for you.
Westlife, thank you, personal Didier. That'll get you on your sixths, won't it? Is
Yep.
it sixths?
Oh,
Or is it thirds?
What's
The harmony.
yeah, it's thirds, but
Thirds.
starting from the third, so it's
Yeah.
first inversions.
Yeah, Westlife, thank you, personal Didier. Divine Comedy, nice.
Is everything but the girl away from Ireland?
Don't know. Tracy,
Okay.
no, she's aren't they from Essex?
No, probably. I'm shutting my eyes now and just swinging, just having a go.
Yeah. Boomtown Rats, Undertones. Boomtown Rats says James Blessed. Michael Crow says Undertones. I think, Raf, you're going to have lots and lots of lovely things to choose from.
Yeah.
And I'll just throw in Val Doonican at the end.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, who will be forever immortalised in my brain via Kenny Everett calling him Val Hooligan.
Brilliant. And of course, all the traditional Irish music as well, if there's any of that you can do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that I know any. I was at a
that.
pub, and this was in Cornwall, and there's a duo playing, and they're playing traditional Irish stuff.
The geographical dysmorphia or something.
Yeah, and he comes up, any requests, and I said, and I suppose you know any crowd house. He goes, no. He said, we only do traditional Irish music. Any requests? And I didn't know a single tune, so I was useless. But I was surprised how many people there, because they're obviously regulars, and they come out to see them.
They had their Irish night.
Had their Irish night.
Nice.
Lovely.
Good. Well, enjoy that, Raf. And Yeah.
Oh, Stiff Little Fingers. Are they from there?
Well, the Dubliners, of course.
Yeah.
Don't forget the Dubliners.
Cranberries. Very good.
Yeah. Matt McGrath. Hello, Matt.
Hello, Matt.
Matt says, leg ends. I want to run a dual mono practice setup.
Good.
And I'm wondering how to best go about it. The signal chain would be Pedalboard, ABY box, Boss RC5, which is a looper, isn't it? And then 2 combos, one for looping, one dry. Is this right?
Yeah. So you want to put your ABY, your splitter, somewhere in the signal chain. So a great place to start is to put it after your gain pedals and have... So this depends on whether you want the looper just to loop the groove and then you build up atmospheres and stuff with it, or the other way around. Either way, doesn't really matter. The idea is that after your gain pedals, if you've got your ABY, you split your A to 1 amp and your B goes back to the delays and things. Then you've basically got 2 signal chains, but they're both getting the gain stages. So what you can do, the great thing about doing this with an ABY pedal is that you can set up on 1 amp with the loop, and then you can turn off A and go to B and do the solo on the other amp. So you're not playing over the loop in one amplifier. The loop's separate. And then you hit B, turn off A, but A will continue to loop, and then you're doing a solo wizardry in the other amp.
Yeah.
It's a really nice way to do it. It just depends on if you want to, because what you can do, right? If you want to have reverb and delay and everything on your solo tones and just set up a basic loop, you can have your gain stages, ABY, your A goes out into the looper, and from the looper into the amplifier. B goes into reverbs and delays and stuff. So when you go to A, you set up your loop, that's going, and you turn off A, go to B, and then you set up your reverbs and delays and solo. There's, all manner of things that you can do.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I'd want to have anything I wanted in the loop, and then once that's looped, be able to change things on the board and get different sounds. And that's what you're doing with this signal chain.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas if you have your split before your reverbs and delays, you can never have reverb and delay in your loop.
That's right.
Yeah.
So there's a number. I mean, lots of looping devices are stereo, so you could join everything back up into the looper at the end and do it that way. There's loads of different ways to do it.
Yeah.
If you split after the gain stages, and one side goes straight to the looper, reverbs and delays into the looper, out of the looper into the ABY, that would also work great. Give it a go. Yeah, so there's loads of different ways to do it.
Yeah, start there, Matt. Start with what you suggested and move it around. See what the effects are.
Yeah.
Draw diagrams. I always think diagrams help in these
Very
situations.
helpful.
Iron Wolf 1776. Actually, Buono Estente.
Scorchio!
It is housekeeping. Housekeeping. Patrons, we have 3 winners. This month's pedal giveaway was in fact 3 pedals. It was some B-stock rattlers that we had. So we decided to give 3 away, and the lucky winners are Bradley from Boys in Idaho, USA, Andy from Islington in London.
Oh, lovely.
And Rupert from Melbourne in Australia. So a truly international bevy of winners there.
Fantastic.
Congratulations on your new rattler. Funnily enough, experience day on Friday. Somebody brought in an angry driver, and I'm just trying to remember who that was.
Tom, Steve, Tom.
Might have been Tom. I'll remember in a minute, and apologies for not remembering. There's quite a lot of pedals. And I've just forgotten how good the old Angry Charlie sounds with a bit of lovely, awesome noise.
Yeah, that was an early discovery.
It was he who had the PRS. Oh my God, sorry, this is embarrassing.
Ah, Nigel. Nigel had the PRS.
Did he?
Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah. Nigel
Oh.
had the Mark Tremonti PRS.
Yeah, the Tremonti.
Yeah.
Nigel.
Yeah.
Was it Nigel?
It was Nigel.
Ah. Yes,
Nigel.
it was Nigel. It was Nigel. Nigel, I'm so sorry, buddy. It was. We get hit with a lot of tone for about 8 hours, and it's a very can be a very dizzying experience. I was knackered on Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all but it's a nice knackered. It's like
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's so nice to hang out with people and chew the fat over the experience day. On the subject of which, actually, we got to say thank you to Paula, who was Nigel's other half, who dropped Nigel off, who brought prezzies for Rosie
and Ziggy.
Yeah. And Paula, thank you. There was we've had some serious debates on TPS over the years, and sometimes it gets a bit, sometimes things can be a bit tough to talk about. One of the debates we had was about the star bar and the boost. Because I'd assumed that boost had just replaced star bar.
Okay. Well, this is right.
And
But no, they're separate things, are they?
there's the living proof that star bar and boost
Can coexist in the world
can
together.
coexist. I feel like doing a review
Okay.
of them.
We'll go
Do you want to join me?
Yeah. Do half each.
Yeah, okay. I'll get a knife.
We t-
I could break it.
You could just break them.
The thing is, the trouble is because
they're caramelly and stuff.
Okay. Well, in which case, okay. So here's boost. Then we'll start with boost. So the break of the boost is no snap to speak of.
Okay.
Definitely some caramel ooze there.
What's the powdery substance? Is
well,
this like the?
Hopefully it's crystal meth, but
Okay.
Oh man. Predominantly caramel, some biscuit crunch, no nuts to speak of.
There's something else in there though.
Yeah.
It was like a malt or something.
Like a nougat or something. Okay. That was boost. Star bar. The snap test. Again, no snap. Looks
very similar.
Very, very similar.
Okay.
Dan's going to be absolutely buzzing off this. He
I'm
doesn't normally eat chocolate.
I'm doing a palate cleanse. Hang on.
So the crunch in this is definitely biscuit based.
Right.
Marginally more caramel. Crunch is more peanutty, I would say.
Yeah. Okay.
But in a blind test, I'd be all over the place.
Right, the peanuts.
Peanuts is
very strong.
Okay. So quite similar, definitely, and less powdery in this one. Paula, thank you. I give the Star Bar 9 out of 10,
Okay.
and the Boost 8 for me.
Yeah. I like the Starbar more.
There's a salty, I think maybe from the peanuts. Anything that sweet needs a salty note, right?
Oh, sorry about the chewing sounds. Ah. Here we go, Robert Davies. Chewing into microphones, literally my worst phobia, brought to light by the two I love the most. Bless you.
Nice. Well, it's like MasterChef, just without all the without all the crappy food, isn't it? So yeah, massive thanks to Paula and Nigel for the chocolate clarification. Harmonious Monk Mark II. If you're in the USA or Canada, and you buy stuff from that pedal shop, thank you if you do. Harmonious Monk 2s have landed.
Oh, fantastic.
So that pedal shop has some Harmonious Monk Mark 2s. If you didn't get one of the original 200 and you haven't bought one from Jam, you can buy one from within the US. Fast and free shipping to the lower 48. I don't actually know what that means. It's just what they say. Everyone else, check your local music store, or there will be more arriving at that pedal show store, hopefully by the end of the week. So Harmonious Monk 2's new batches are shipping. And the last thing of this week's housekeeping, no VCQ next Monday, which Dan has already said, because it is King Charles III's coronation. Dan and I are doing a themed show tomorrow to celebrate, which we won't say any more about, save there being too many ideas flowing in the comments. Yeah, good. If you want us to review any other similar items, by all means, let us know.
Yeah.
I mean, we might have. I mean, that's been playing on my mind for a long time.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad we got to the bottom of that.
Yeah, I think maybe Guinness and Murphy's next time.
I really want to do a show where, because I don't know about you, but I would say a majority of the gigs that I played, I had at least a beer in me.
Yeah.
And I'd love to do a definitive test that just shows the effect of 1 or 2 ales.
Let's do it. We'd have to
fun.
put an 18 certificate on it, but that's all right. Then we get all the Paddy Power ads and. Anyway, lots of people want to know when Noel's coming on, including MC. It's going to be probably up to 3 weeks' time, MC. Sorry, it's going to be tough to turn it around any quicker than that for all kinds of machinations that need to occur. So, yes, but the good news is the media all actually recorded. I can't believe I even said that. I do have multiple copies at this point.
Right.
So it's gonna be happening. That candy show, says Michael Hubbard. Yeah, we don't call it candy here. We call it chocolate. And sweets, but predominantly chocolate. So does if you say candy in America, then does that include chocolate?
Yeah, I don't know. It must have.
Don't know, does it? Yeah.
Just the Highlander.
There can be only one?
The lady wasn't heard to. My name's Candy. He goes, I'm sure you are.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
before he was driving. I go, New York.
Oh, New York. The Kurgan.
The Kurgan.
There's a bit of us that all want to be the Kurgan, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
Rampaging around the countryside with a sword. Maybe not. Iron Wolf 1776 says, good day, O priests of tone. Good day, O priests of tone, from Iron Wolf 1776. Have you any specific observations or comments surrounding the mythos of the curly cable's electrical and sonic superiority to normal straight cables? Please discuss. It's about bottoms and hats. And teepees and wigwams.
Okay.
Cap ass intense. Come on.
Dude. Did you just come up with that?
I did. That's true.
I tip of the hat to you, sir.
Yeah, it's all about capacitance. Why, Dan?
Well, yeah, the curly cable will have more capacitance in it. It's those curly cables are a lot longer than you think.
Wish I had one here to demonstrate.
Yeah,
but
they can sound. They sound great. If you've got a really bright guitar, that's the Brian May.
It's not just the length, though, is it? The fact of coiling it also increases the capacitance.
Yeah, it can do. I mean, generally, there's no current in it, so it has less effect. I should say, of course there's current in it because it does work, but a tiny, tiny, tiny amount. But yeah, I mean, a coil is a coil. Nor is it wrapped around a magnet. But all that. The majority of the effect is in the length of it, because it's, if you think you get a cable that looks like this long, in actual fact it's like really long. But yeah, the everything has an effect. Everything does. So yeah, extra bit of dark cable.
If you have an extremely bright amplifier that is too bright for your likings, that you don't necessarily want to change in other ways, the famous example we always talk about is Albert Collins, 100 foot of cable, and because the cable was so long, the effect of the capacitance was to dull off the signal a bit before it hits the amp. You could do something similar with a long coily cable, and I think, who are famous users of coily cables? Jimi Hendrix,
Brian May.
Whether Hendrix used one for the tonal properties or whether it's because it looked kind of groovy, and it was sort of bouncy, so he didn't trip over it the whole time. Could be that. Brian May. And what do Brian May and Jimi Hendrix have in common?
Both really cool.
Bright amps.
Fabulous hair.
Bright amps, AC30s and a crank plexi.
Yes.
Very bright.
Yeah, right.
Single coil pickups.
I was having listened to Fire
Brian's are a bit different.
the other day, and it's such an interesting recorded guitar sound. It's really cool, but it's unusual.
Yeah.
It's kind of unique. You don't listen to it and go, I know what that is, a cranked Marshall. You know it's a cranked Marshall, but it's like, it's definitely a thing he had going on.
Well, to echo what Rick Beato was saying when he was on the show, you're just not hearing just the amp.
No, that's so true. It's so true.
Paul Stacey dropped into our experience day on Friday, which was very nice. He was passing, and he popped in to say hello and drop some knowledge, didn't he?
He did.
And one of the things he was talking about was exactly that. You know, the number of stages a recorded guitar sound goes through before it is recorded, including loads and loads of different transformers and EQs. And he'll say he'll run through. Sometimes when he's recording guitar, he'll just run it through a compressor without having any compression.
Yeah, right.
Just to get the sound of the transformer and the unit itself.
Interesting.
So anyway, sorry, bit of a tangent. If your guitar sound is very bright and you want to lose a bit of that brightness, you can try a long cable, and a curly cable can exacerbate that effect.
Yes.
One of the things we did on Friday was I had the idiot's board set up, and
I mean our boards. Yeah.
And the sort of two pedal board thing that I've got going on at the moment, and saying, right, okay, here's the sound of the Tube Screamer buffer. No Tube Screamer on, just the buffer. So it's in a true bypass loop. Switch the true bypass loop on and off, and it's staggering. Absolutely staggering. Buffers, capacitance, all that stuff does make a big difference.
Yeah.
Coily cables included.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, at least it signed me out, Dan, which is nice.
Well, it's consistent.
It's gone too much waffle, mate. Say something useful or I'm just going to sign you out.
Okay. Well, don't look at me for saying useful things. Jason G says, Daniel, what would you use to isolate 3 amps? Wet, dry, wet. 2 humdingers? ? Yeah, absolutely. I'd leave the... If what you're doing is you've got stereo signal and a dry amp in the middle, I'd have one to split where you want the dry amp and one on either the A or the B of the stereo. You need one path to earth / ground. So that can be your A, your B, or whatever. But, yeah, I would. Yes, that's what I would do. Yeah, this is interesting. G and Kikos Home Studio says Jimmy used Fender amps in the studio a lot, I believe. He used a lot of things. So I remember many years ago, Mick sent me on an interview to interview Del Kasher and Roger Mayer. And Roger Mayer was Jimmy's guitar tech, and Roger had some really amazing stories of Jimmy in the studio. And, you know, of course he used Marshalls, but lots of other stuff floating around as well.
Yeah, I always think you can hear when it's the Marshall. There is a sound that a Marshall and a Strat makes.
Yeah.
And you might assume some of those clean sounds to be Fender because they're so clean. But once you've played a
Strat or fuzz face with the volume rolled back.
Into a super bass or a super
totally.
lead, it's just a beautiful noise.
Yep.
Yeah. Come on. It kicks you out, you see. YouTube kicks you out, which is slightly annoying.
Sun amps. There's a picture of Jimmy playing a flying V through a sun.
Oh,
somewhere.
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. In fact, we've got the Sun.
Oh, we need to do that.
Oh.
Yeah.
pedal, and we've also got the Simon Neil Boom Blast.
Yeah.
And I did think we should do an episode on, I don't know, what would you call it, like mega noise pedals.
Yeah, I didn't know a lot about Suno, and then it's like they're a duo, and they play these massive tones. And I think what it is, if anyone's aware of the whole shoegaze movement, a lot of that, the power of that movement was the volume, and it would put you into like a trance state.
I'd just like to say for the record that Dan is not calling Sun O.
No, I'm not calling it shoegaze band. What I'm saying is
a lot of people just breathed out there, Dan.
Yeah. The Sun O thing, I think, puts people into a similar state through the, sheer brutality of it. It's like in a really loud gig, and you do feel something different.
Chris Pittman, Doom pedals.
Doom.
Thank you.
Okay.
That will work. Jimmy's tone was too sharp and abrasive, says Nuendo 2496.
I would not agree with you there. I think it was... my daughter's just really got into Hendrix recently.
Out of touch. Marshall, now a Swedish amp, I believe. Touche, out of touch. Sorry, you were saying Liv's just got into...
Yeah. And she hasn't discovered him through me. She gets in the car the other day and she says, can I put some music on? She grabs my phone and puts on a whole bunch of Jimmy. I'm like, and I don't listen to a lot of Jimi Hendrix, to be fair.
Out of interest, what Jimmy was she listening to?
She listened to Fire.
Oh, wow, okay.
Which was great. She listened to... What else was there? She listened to... Not Spanish Castle Magic. She listened to...
Long Hot Summer Nights?
No, Stone Free.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like... all the really up stuff. And she knows all the words and she's singing along. It's like, it's really cool.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Hello, Marcus Reeves, who is on.
Oh, Marcus. I saw Marcus he did a thing on Instagram the other day. He had a pedal launch or something. He sold all of them in like 50 seconds. It's great.
Ranzer. We got two questions from Ran. Hello, always good to hear from you, Ran. Thanks for being with us. Dear D and M and B and K and R, back from the US. Mick, did you deal with the post-NAMM jet lag? I have it bad, but at least it's an opportunity to enjoy my new Novo guitar.
Ooh.
I just powered through it.
You are amazing, actually, because so Mick can do this thing where he doesn't have to sleep. He can work through it. When we did
I can do it for a couple of weeks and then I collapse.
A couple of weeks. I can't do it for 24 hours. We did Not the NAMM O'Clock News, where you had to go and like steal Wi-Fi from hotels and stuff. So we would film during NAMM during the day. We'd get back, we'd film our NAMM O'Clock News thing, edit, and then Mick would take the edit and go and sit like 3 o'clock in the morning, stealing Wi-Fi to upload it. And I so desperately wanted just to be there for moral support. And I got to the point I was so tired I felt like I was going to throw up. and I was just in the bed going, Mick, if you just need me to do anything, just wake me up. And I was gone. And that was like the first night. And you did that every night. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I can function on not much sleep for a period of time, and then it all breaks. Although I do getting a bit older, I struggle a bit with that.
I think because I had kids, that my limit for that went with the children.
Because you had to do so much.
Yeah, and you never get it back.
Really?
You never get it back.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think it was a combination of the times of the flights. I always, if ever I'm doing a long haul and there's a time difference, I always start adjusting my food the day before as well. So I eat at the new time zone's time.
That's very clever.
Which helps. I've also got a method for sleeping on planes. I can sleep on any plane, anywhere.
Yeah, it's very impressive, actually.
So good sleep before and after, good sleep on the plane, sort your food out, and then just power through it. And it just worked. It doesn't work sometimes, but it did work this time. So.
That's
I
right.
hope you're feeling okay, Ran, and the Novo. Congratulations on that. I've liked every Novo guitar I've ever played.
Yeah. The one that Zach from Mythos brought over,
Yeah,
that was incredible.
it was a groovy
Yeah,
machine.
really nice.
And also, he says, Dan, all my wishes on your 20th anniversary.
Ah, thank you, mate. Yes. I've, as everyone pointed out, I'm punching well above my weight. Thank you very much.
Well,
yeah.
they used to throw you in jail for that, didn't they?
Yeah, it'd be worth it. It's been lovely. Thank you very much.
Dan and his wife Martine celebrated their 20th wedding anniversary this week. For those of you not keeping up, so
Yeah.
congratulations.
Yeah, thank
guys.
you, mate. Thank you. It's really lovely.
Um,
High-fived, as we did. She got me a massage gun for my wonky elbow.
Oh, yeah?
And I got her some outdoor lights. And we're like, done.
Happy days.
Great.
He says you might have punched up, but she didn't do too bad herself.
Oh,
that's
thank you.
That's a compliment, Dan.
Thank you,
Ran. Iron Wolf 1776 again. Thanks for the rattler. It will go on my board as soon as I receive it. Brad in
It's
voice.
killer. It's such a great thing.
Okay, so Iron Wolf 1776 is
Bradley
Brad.
from Boise in Idaho.
Nice one, Brad. Enjoy
Excellent.
it. Mickey DTI 7.
Mickey D.
Mickey DTI 7. See, what I've got there in my brain is DT 175, which was a Yamaha trail bike that I coveted as a child.
Oh, wow.
So when I see DTI 7, I see DT 175, and I'm like, yes, come on!
My neighbour had a Pee-wee 50 that I coveted, and I was like 8. And have you seen those little Pee-wee 50s?
What's that, like
Little,
one of those?
little tiny little motorbike. For
Like the two fat
10-year-olds.
guys are on in the picture.
Yes.
With the small wheels.
Yeah, tiny wheels.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
the Pee-wee 50.
I think they're also called a monkey bike, aren't they?
Ah, they're just a death trap.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so that's the only motorbike I ever coveted.
Anyway, Mickey DTI7 says, hi, Dinham. I really enjoy the show, even the fuzz reviews. Thank you for the advice and the philosophies. I have an SV20 Marshall with a 212 cab, which has got Heritage Series greenbacks. Would
Great.
swapping the G12H or Vintage 30s improve the low-end definition? Thanks in advance.
It's really difficult because those speakers are fantastic, and as part of the Marshall sound, it might be worth, because it's an open back thing, right?
Well, I'm
wondering-
not sure. It's
in a combo.
No, it's a head
Oh, is it
and a 212 cab.
like our 212?
I don't know. It doesn't say what 212 it is. It may well be. If it's the Marshall 1936 212, then that is closed back.
Yeah.
But it could be. What Dan's about to say is you'll notice more bass response out of a open back in a small place. Because you'll get, out the back as well. And certainly if you put it in a corner of a room, if you're at home or close to a back wall, you'll notice more bass response. If it's a closed back cab, it can be a little more problematic to notice that bass because it's designed to project, throw sound forward a bit more. In general, a heavy magnet speaker, of which the anniversary G12H, it's called H because it's heavy magnet, right? And they're called G12M because they're medium magnet. The H magnet I think is 50 ounces and the medium magnet is 35 ounces. So G12M, medium magnet, G12H, heavy magnet. In general, a heavy magnet speaker usually gives you a bit more bottom end because they tend to be a bit more powerful. But then it's all about how they couple in the cab. It's about how the cab itself is designed and critically where you position that cab in the room.
What, the SV amp, is that Studio Vintage?
Studio Vintage, yeah. Right. It's their most recent...
Two EL84s, solid state rectifier.
I don't know.
20 watt, is it?
Must be 84s, I don't know. We haven't tried one, but...
No.
A graphic equalizer pedal will give you more low-end definition for much less hassle. You can just boost the 80 and 100 hertz thereabouts. Yeah,
definitely worth trying a graphic. I'd say definitely worth. If the only issue is a little bit of like ecky thump, then it's definitely worth trying that.
Yeah, the other thing that is slightly more annoying with sounds at low volume is what you'll find is there'll be a point on that master volume where it all starts to come together.
Yeah.
And that will almost certainly be louder than you want it to be. So there's certainly, if you're running a little bit of preamp gain, getting a bit of overdrive, and you've got it turned down in order to maintain a sensible volume at home or wherever you play, it's not going to be really, it's not doing its thing at that volume. And to get the bottom end, you do need to open it up a bit, and it will start producing.
SV20 has EL34s. That's interesting. Thanks, Mike.
Oh, does it? For 20 watts? Because of the Fletcher-Munson effect curve.
Yes.
At low volumes, you sort of boost bass and treble. That's how it's partially how loud switches work on hi-fi. You boost a bit of bass and treble at low volume because you don't perceive them as much at low volume. So as it gets louder, you need less bass. So as you start to play gigs, you'll need to turn the bass down. So it might be that a graphic EQ would be much, much easier than bothering with swapping out speakers. And you could probably run that in your effects loop, which I suspect the SV20 has, does it?
Yeah.
If it's a fairly modern amp.
Yeah. Studio, I would imagine so.
Yeah, you could try that. I don't know if there's a compressor that might help boost bottom end. Gets a bit more difficult because then it tends to boost the top end quite a bit as well.
You're already limiting if you're doing the stuff for the preamp. So
yeah.
Eagle Ray Rob says, did Gilmour run Goodman speakers in his Wemcabs? I believed he ran crescendos, feigned crescendos in his Wem.
Not according to Paul Stacey.
Paul Stacey was the one who told me he ran crescendos.
He was. Weren't we talking to him last week? And he said they weren't feigns; they were something else.
Oh, okay.
Somebody was telling me that.
Oh, okay, cool.
Folklore and general understanding has them as feigns.
Right.
He was saying they were something else.
Okay.
And I can't remember what. Can't remember. I could be getting my stories mixed up there, but someone in the last 2 weeks has told me that they weren't crescendos.
Right.
Yeah, good luck, Mickey. If you don't have any luck with that, I mean, by all means, consider a speaker swap. It's going to be subtle.
Yeah. I'd start with the EQ, just because all I would say is the EQ will let you know if that really is the problem.
Yeah.
Because it might be that you boost bottom end and all you're getting is more compression. So...
Yeah, it depends how loud you play.
Yeah, and depends how you're running the preamp. So, yeah.
Also, I don't know where you're talking about playing, but do try put the cab in the corner of a room. That may well help.
Totally, it's a great idea.
Might just help what's happening in your room. Good luck. Freddie Forbes. Hello, Freddie.
Hello, Freddie.
Freddie Forbes, you sound like some sort of 1980s media mogul.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah. In a Nightmare on Elm Street horror film.
Freddie Forbes has been spotted today on Sunset Avenue in a Ferrari Testarossa, bright white, speeding at 127 miles an hour. Hey pals, I need advice for a lower gain AC/DC-ish sound. I need to add sustain to my lead playing, but I don't like what my compressor does to gain tones. Cali 76 stacked. Any tips? Amp is a Friedman BE.
So, funnily enough, on the weekend, there was a clip of Steve Stevens playing. And it reminded me, because he's playing and he plays really clean, lower gain. And when you listen to Angus, it's really clean, not super distorted, all that stuff. I used to play that live. I think one of the tricky things is the more gain that you've got, the more natural it limits, right? The gain causes compression, but when you hear those guys play, it's volume less gain, and they still have dynamic off the guitar. And I think a compressor, it's kind of, it can help the sustain, but you need to make sure you've got plenty of the original signal still mixed in, so you still get dynamics off the pick. Baby rain, do do. White Wedding, the kid's playing. Used to what have you done? Yeah, so, all right.
What is this? Right, yes. Try, I don't know where you're running your compressor at the moment. If you've got an overdrive pedal, dial back the compression settings a bit, because what the thing with all the Origin ones is they sound so transparent, you end up stacking on a load of compression and then it's too compressed.
Yeah.
Actually, dial back your compression settings and stick it after your overdrive pedal, making sure you've got plenty of dry.
Yes.
And I'm just going to make an assumption here. Most people typically start with their compressor pedal before their overdrive. They put it first in chain because all the guitar magazines down the years have told them to put it first in chain. If you're playing funk or you're playing country, I need to play. That's where you put it because you want the squash, right? What you don't want is the squash on the front of the note, which is probably what you're talking about, because if it squashes, by the time it hits your gain pedal, the level is lower and you lose all that lovely smack and attack and crunch and bite on the front of the note. If you put it after your overdrive pedal and make sure there's plenty of dry signal in there, because one of the great things about the Origin compressors is they have a dry mix, you won't lose any of the front of your note. In fact, I can't play any AC/DC because we'll get flipping...
Yeah, we will.
They'll notice 3 notes. So we got to play it wrong. But what you will get, you'll get all of the front of the note.
So good.
As you hold on to a note, you retain all the front,
Yeah.
but the compressor kicks in part the way through,
And just gives
and
you
you get
sustain.
the sustain on the back.
Yeah. But the key is the blend, because if you don't have the blend, what's going to happen is everything's going to hit the compressor and it's just going to clamp down on everything. With the blend in, you'll still get the flow through of the drive signal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing you could try is something. See, the Origin compressors are kind of studio-y in their being. Another one that we really love is the. Come on, where are you? This Union Tube and Transistor Lab. Which is an LA2A type.
Mm-hmm.
Something else that's really nice is the Origin Effects MEQ driver. Which
That's great. Actually,
also
that
adds some console-y type sort of feel and squash and dynamic. And they brought out a new one this week, which they sent us.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, it's out. Which
Man,
does
they're
kind
busy
of
boys.
similar things.
Doug F says no blend on a Dynacomp. No, not traditionally. However, the Analog Man, is that here? Analog Man has done
Sorry
a
about
version with the blend control, which is flippin' awesome.
Yeah, that's the trouble with the traditional Ross Dynacomp derived compressors. That's why you put them first, because putting them further down chain can be a disaster.
Yeah.
Because anything that hits them just squashes everything down. So
but that is a sound. That's an amazing sound.
Yeah.
But it's very different to that studio type thing.
Yeah. Other than that, Freddie, we're going to assume you're getting the gain you like from the BE, because it's capable of all of that. Failing that, there are some nice Marshall crunchy boxes out there. We played one on the show last week, the new Tsacalis Audio Works Room 40.
Yeah.
which does a load of
Killer.
really good Marshally goodness. I don't know. There's just so many great basic crunchy overdrive pedals out there, but I'm assuming you're going to get all that from your BE, which is more than capable of that. Good luck.
Good luck, mate.
Jeff Harper. Hello, Jeff.
Hello, Jeff.
I have a Catalyst 60. I don't know what that is. Is that an amp?
Do not know. Doesn't say by who.
Line 6.
Okay.
Dual channel guitar amplifier. Designed around the HX bits and bobs. 60 watt solid state and a built-in.
Oh, I know those things. Yep. Okay.
Something or other. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Come on. Built-in what? Built-in power attenuator. All right. Looking to set up a board for blues and rock. Pedals are Mythos Positron Collider. Get in. TS9, Boss TR2, Tremolo, Catlin Bread Bell Epoch, Tape Echo. I'm saving for a Headstrong amp. Do you have any ideas or suggestions? Oh, blimey, yeah. I mean, you're with no disrespect to the Catalyst 60.
The Headstrong's a whole different
You're
thing.
eating at McDonald's there in a Michelin-starred restaurant, so you will notice quite the difference between those two amplifiers. Which is not to say you're necessarily going to prefer the Headstrong. Some people really like McDonald's because it's easy, it's cheap, it's quick, just continue that analogy as far as you want. It's easy to understand, easy to use, it's quite satisfying. The Headstrong might be hard work after that because it is open, big, full, superlatives.
Yes, but you know what's really interesting about that? The Headstrong, when you first get it, you may find it more difficult to play. After about 3 months, you'll be a better guitar player for it.
I 1000% agree.
Yeah. Because you'll hear everything, and it's not compressed. It's not. You'll have dynamics there, and you'll need to play the dynamics, and that makes you a better guitar player. Absolutely. They look great, actually. They look really nice.
Yeah, they always sound great as well. Yeah.
Well done, mate. That's great.
Yeah, so any advice on the pedal board?
The Collider is always a great shout. If what you want is a single pedal that does delay and reverb.
No. Positron Collider from Mythos.
Oh, okay.
The
Sorry.
Ghostbusters.
Oh, okay. Right. Fair enough.
Yeah, I would say in the order that you've listed them there, put them in that order, except swap your tremolo and echo around. You want the tremolo after the echo, ideally. Lots of people will say tremolo's a modulation pedal, therefore it should come before delay. Dan and I much prefer tremolo after delay, because what happens is if you put the tremolo before the delay, you hit the note, unless, let's say it's on the down wave, no note because it's tremoloed off. Your delay doesn't pick that up. All kinds of weird things start happening thereafter. With the tremolo after, it sort of stands to reason because tremolo would normally have been in your amplifier. You have it last. It seems to work better for us anyway.
Yeah, totally.
So other than that, go in that order.
Yeah.
Yeah. Try the TS9 and the Positron either way around.
Yeah.
Might be that you prefer them one way or the other, but
it all depends on how you're using them.
Exactly that. If you want to use the TS9 as a sort of more open boost, put it after. If you're using the Positron Collider more fuzzy. If you're using the Positron Collider more boosty, loud, maybe try the TS9 first. But you should have some fun there, Jeff.
Yeah, brilliant, mate.
Couple of quickie ones. David Evans wants to know, why is a Dumble so magical? David Evans. Isn't the Edge called David Evans?
Is he?
Dave Evans.
Davo.
Yeah, maybe it's you. Are you the Edge? If so, thank you. Thank you.
Brilliant.
Yeah, we saw you in Rome, and it was astonishing how a guitar player holds a band like you two entirely together in a stadium. It was bonkers.
Yeah.
And brilliant. Anyway, if you're not that Dave Evans, you could probably afford one by now, Mr. Edge. But if you're not that Dave Evans, someone's going to say it's not Dave Evans, it's Sid Smith. Why is a Dumble so magical? I don't know that they are. I think they've become magical because the people who play them end up sounding like themselves and completely unique.
I like that. That's very good.
So let's talk about some Dumble players. David Linley, who recently passed away, may he rest in peace.
Yeah. They've played with Jackson Brown and a bunch of
and solo stuff, and had quite a distinctive slide guitar sound.
It was Running on Empty. That's him.
Yeah,
yeah,
and a lot of Jackson Brown stuff, but also did other stuff apart from that. John Mayer.
John Mayer.
Let's leap straight to John Mayer. Let's talk about Stevie Ray Vaughan. Let's talk about Robin Ford.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Larry Carlton. Let's talk about Eric Johnson. Christopher Cross.
Christopher Cross.
And his guitar player, who I'm sorry, I forget his name. And you could keep going. All these people. Carlos Santana latterly. Every single person we've just reeled off there has a unique sound, and when they play, you know it's them.
Yeah. And
it's all been a Dumble amp. I personally believe that Dumble's gift was to recognise that in people.
Yes.
And offer the conduit through which they could speak.
Yeah, definitely. He did have a magical set of wing nuts, Mr. Dumble. Ears. And he spent a lot of time with the artists. So, and he knew how to make an amp work. Yeah. And because those amps are all, there's a lot of differences in those amps. There's some similarities, but there's tonally.
Yeah, I mean, even in the Overdrive specials, there's a huge amount of difference.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and he would tweak them. So what is a Dumble sound? It's such an open question. It's like they definitely had a thing with huge amounts of variance. Yeah.
To a certain kind of player as well. I mean, I wonder what Angus would have sounded like through a Dumble. Probably amazing. Oh,
they're not because you've played a couple, right?
Yeah.
And they're not an easy amp to play, are they?
No, the opposite of that.
Yeah.
But then, I don't know, once you then click with it, then it's probably the easiest amp in the world to play because it's you and it's how you flow. And I do think he managed to hit that with a few of his artists or a few people who play Dumble amps. So whether there's anything magic in the amps themselves or not, I don't know. That's for the birds, isn't it? But the proof for me is in the music that was made.
Yeah.
And everyone maybe not everyone, the people that have become known for playing them have an absolutely unique voice. Every one of them.
Yeah.
I don't think you could say anyone who's famous for playing a Dumble has a kind of generic tone that you could mistake with anyone else.
Yep. I would completely agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, that's equally true of Jimmy Page and Angus Young and anyone else you might mention who's been a, lightning bolt in the world of electrical guitar. Yeah, that's why I think they're magic. And Robert Davis says, we don't see much Analog Man on the show anymore. Do they still hold up? Yes.
Yeah, mate, absolutely.
Yeah. Like we would hold Analog Man on a pedestal along with jam pedals maybe.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's still sat in the hot seat, isn't he, Mike?
He sure is.
No doubt about it. There was one other. Carlos Jimenez. Carlos Jimenez says, do you guys use wireless units when playing live?
No.
No.
Heavens no.
Can't,
I'd say heavens no.
Can't do the buffer.
Yeah. I have played with wireless units in the past. But now, because I'm running fuzzers and, you know, sort of sensitive drives and stuff, there are, if you're part of a show and you need to run around on stage, it's like Brian May uses a wireless.
Oh, so many people use a wireless and sound great.
But Brian May has his treble booster strapped to his guitar strap.
Before the wireless.
Before the wireless. Guitar goes out into the treble booster, out of the treble booster, into the wireless. So he's still got the buffer after the treble booster, but the treble booster is seeing the inductance of the coils.
Yes, because it wouldn't work the other way around.
Exactly.
I was watching someone else on the telly the other day whose tone I love was using a wireless. I don't know who it was. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So no, Dan and I don't, because they monkey too much with what else happens on the pedal board. Also, more prosaically, I'm never in a situation where I would need one.
Right.
I never ever play stages that are big enough to require one.
Yeah.
So
they are fun. They are. When I was a kid, running around on stage just being an idiot, they are fun. I remember when I first got it, and we were playing someone's party, and they had this massive farm, and I just went for a walk to see how far I could get away from the amp, and it was like I go, wait a second, it was great, like playing a spider. PD
says Sonny Landreth, yes, another Dumble user with a unique tone. Yeah, Two Rock Sound Magic 2 says Out of Touch. I very much covet one. Yeah,
I really do.
I coveted them. I now have them, and I am not sad at all.
Yeah.
Right. Wastel 10. Hello. Hi, DNM. Among other amps, I own a Vox AC15 C1.
Okay, yep.
A Marshall Valve State ATV, a Bugera G20 Infinium, and a Laney LA30 BL.
I like the Laney.
Two of them have to go. Which would you keep and why?
I like the Laney. I thought they did a really great job. There's a few different versions of that Laney. They did a Laney 10, which is was it Laney 10 or Laney 15? The one that had a 10-inch speaker. Sounds flipping magic.
You remember the LA30 though, with the 212 cab and the It's like a mini supergroup.
It's great. It's amazing. Yeah. No, I mean that for me is an absolute keeper.
Oh, I love that amp.
So I would definitely keep that. What are the other ones?
AC15, Marshall Valve State 80, and a Bugera G20 Infinium.
AC15.
Yeah, me too. I'd keep the AC15 and the Laney. As you'll hear in the Noel Gallagher show, Marshall Valve State can sound completely amazing. It can sound even more amazinger in a big way if you had a 60s Wem underneath it. Or 70s,
what
I
a
don't know
sound.
when that was from.
It's just incredible.
The Bugera is kind of a good do-it-all solution. We've got the 5-watt version of that amp, and it always sounds surprisingly good. It's got direct out on it, effects loops, got a whole bunch of stuff. But if you've got other amps that fulfill your needs, which it sounds like you do, you less need an all-rounder, I think. Certainly in terms of character, we'd have to say, wouldn't we? The AC15 and the Laney.
Together.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
But
then ask what's appropriate for your situation. It might be that all three of the others go and the Bugera stays because it's the most appropriate for your playing situation. So there's a bit of, what are you doing with them?
What he's doing with them is he's keeping the Laney, and the AC15 is getting rid of the other two.
Hiring a rehearsal room once a week and going down and having schwank.
Absolutely.
There you go. Wastel 10. There you go. That's what we would say. Evan Diebold or Diebold.
I went to bold.
You went to bold?
Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
That's all right. It's okay, because now I wear hats.
Cats wear hats then.
Yeah.
The coolest cats wear hats. Anyway, Evan says, hi DNM, I've been experimenting with my picking lately to get some different tones. Picking more towards the bridge or the neck.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you normally pick, and does it change for different guitars?
So
interesting.
It's interesting. So I was playing my my EOB Strat the other day, and I remembered. So I generally play down this area, but the Strat doesn't let me do it because the volume controls gets in the way. I can't. And I always knock it back. But I did a short on picking stuff I found really interesting. So the biggest difference for me, yes, here or here, makes, you know, that all makes a difference. But the angle of the pick, if you have listened to this, like this, there's a softer sound here, and then so experiment with the angle that the pick hits the string.
I just had a realisation. So Daniel was saying that he often picks back here, and the knob's in the way.
Yeah.
If you look at quite a lot of Strat players that I would like Stevie Ray, for example, Philip Sace, Scott McKeon, they all have huge chunks of their guitar worn away here.
Yes.
Which would suggest that they play more here. And I definitely play more
in that area
up there.
Right.
And I'd never really put that together before about the old volume nub. Yeah, I play pretty much in the middle, I would say.
Right.
Unless, as you say, if you're you know, like sometimes you go down quietly and do that.
Yeah. Matt Schofield's a master of that.
I mean, just listen to that.
Yeah.
And I quite often do that, you know. Oh, he does the 4. He stays on the 4. That's why we don't jam. I can hear all the chord voicing, all the chord leading that Dan's doing, but I don't have the notes to follow it.
You sound...
It's good, at least I can hear it now.
Great.
Never used to be able to hear it. Yeah, nice. So yeah, definitely in the middle. But it's a great way. One of the things we explore during the experience days, and the group on Friday, we did a little bit of this. If you don't get the opportunity to play loud a lot, those things really come to the fore at volume.
They really do.
And one of the simplification processes that happens to some people is if you're used to playing very low volumes and getting all your tones from different pedals and stuff and having a million different overdrives, what you will find once you start to turn up, play really loud, you can get so much more variance just out of this and a bit of volume.
Yeah.
That you stop.
Yes.
Requiring all of that.
Well,
and that's a bit too simplistic because I love to have lots of different overdrive pedals. What my point is, the differences are magnified in a big way at volume.
Yeah, and one of the issues with playing quiet consistently is that if you're always in a situation where it's hard to hear yourself, you end up doing this. You know, when you're playing, you end up hitting so hard just to try and make yourself heard. And this is sort of a little bit of a tangent, but when my electric band stopped playing so much and I was doing loads of acoustic gigs with Doug, and you know, the first set was always fairly controlled, but the second and third set was always pretty rowdy, and strumming an acoustic all night rowdy was always really heavy-handed, and because I'm trying to hear myself. And then when you get to a situation where you're so used to playing that, all your dynamics are gone. You know, volume isn't about being loud, it's about having potential to be dynamic when you need to be dynamic. You go and see any of those amazing guitar players, and you know, we were on stage with Joe Bonamassa, 116 dB, and I thought, oh, this is going to be extraordinary. And it was extraordinary, but it wasn't extraordinary because it was loud. It's extraordinary because it sounded flippin' magic.
Yeah.
But the volume was there when he needed it to be there. And, you know, when he didn't need to be there, he just, you know, he sounded perfect. It's not, you know, I think as guitar players, we've been apologetic and willing to compromise on all that stuff.
Yeah. Don't step in the guitar player.
Yeah. All I'll say is, if you're going to do a solo, you need to be as loud as the singer. Be as loud as the singer. That's all I'm saying.
Paul had some interesting thoughts on sound engineers, didn't he, on Friday?
He did. He did.
My favourite quote was, "This is my sound check, not yours." Which is partly true, isn't it? It's partly true.
Yeah.
It is the sound. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Robert Davis says, studies have shown, on the subject of alopecia and all of that, studies have shown that men with beards are 40% more attractive than men without. That research from the University of Bob Seger.
Hang on. So that means 60%. That means 60% of men without beards are attractive.
No. Are 40% more attractive.
Okay, fair enough. All right.
Anyway, you might have missed the punchline, Dan. This is the University of Bob Seger.
Okay, fair enough.
Who had a beard, right?
Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
David Ennis, I disagree, mate. He can attack every note, but I've seen him play Royal Albert Hall, middle of the gig, and band brings it down, and he plays Whisper Quietly, and you can hear the pick on the strings, and then for the next 10 minutes he brought the dynamics up louder and louder and louder until the whole crowd's on their feet. It was extraordinary. He might not do that at every gig, but the gig that I've seen him do, it was amazing.
Jim Overholt wants to know about the HDRX 20, the PRS amp we had, and someone else was asking about that earlier on. Can it do a Marshall Plexi kind of sound? Yeah, Jim, you've asked twice. Or should one play 100 watt 60 to 60, 68 to 70 to get the real Plexi thing? Yeah, so the HDRX, for those of you who don't know, Paul worked with Doug Sewell. They got their hands on an original Hendrix amp, ended up making a couple PRS amps that were there to do that job. Discovered some mods and some changes in it and replicated those. And the baby of the bunch is the 20 watt HDRX 20, which we use on the show, actually. We've used it many times now. Does it do the Plexi thing? It sounds really good, actually. It's much more manageable. So the only other Plexi we have is a 50 watt reissue, which I can tell you doesn't sound much like a 68 super bass or a classic era.
But there are elements of the Plexi, that urgency that it's got, that the HDX does have,
and it is much easier to live with.
Yeah,
it's much easier to get into an overdrive at a sort of well, for a lot of people wouldn't be a real world volume, but for me and Dan, a real world volume. And for those of you who play in bands, a real world volume, not apartment real world volume. That's it's still insane loud for an apartment, depending on where your apartment is. So yeah, I think it does a good job. Does it sound and react like a 68 super bass? No, God no. There's only one thing that would do that. Funnily enough, the aforementioned Paul Stacey travelled to France recently to pick up a 68 super bass. Black Flag 1,
yes,
I think he said, and it is. He said it's one of the loudest Marshalls he's ever heard, and it's just clean.
Wow.
In a way that a lot of them will overdrive much earlier, so they do vary a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's put it this way: I would happily use it, and we do happily use it on the show, paired with other amps. I'd happily gig it. It's a great amp.
Yeah, it's cool.
A really good amp.
Yeah.
Does it sound again? No, we don't need to go over all of that.
Some interesting comments. So PD says, I'm out the back trying to entice a brown bear into my house right now. Mate, I'll take care and I hope everything's okay.
Why would you want it in your house?
I know, that's interesting. And Kevin Bishop says, I'll sling this in again just in case. Any news on Liam Bowen from Idols coming on the show? So they've been recording and I will know very soon when, but they are coming on the show at some point. And I'm really looking forward to it because they are flipping amazing. So that'll be really fun.
Morley Robertson. Hello, Morley. Morley says, hey, champions of tone. No question, just wanted to say that you guys reignited my desire to play guitar.
Oh, buddy.
Thanks for everything you do.
Thank you, mate. Well,
that's the best.
That's it. That's everything.
Happy days.
Done now.
Dan and I are lucky enough to have been in a position where quite a lot of people have said that to us. And it never gets old.
It's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's really interesting, right? If you connect with this stuff, it's a lot to have in common with people. And like my brother started playing guitar again after years and years not playing it. And now we get on better than we ever have in like 50 years because we've got stuff to talk about that we're both really into. So my brother has a business in Australia and you know, he employs a lot of people and it's very stressful. And a few of his friends of his says, oh, you play guitar, don't you? And because Darren started playing guitar when I was little and he showed me my first chords. And he said, oh, yeah, I play guitar. He says, let's start a band. Anyway, he started this band in, you know, where he lives. And then he calls me one night and says, why didn't you tell me it was this much fun? And he comes home after work and he'll pick up the guitar and play. And he goes when it's really stressful, gets the boys together, has a jam. And it's really been a wonderful point of connection for us. And the whole TPS community, because we're all into this and that's what sort of brought us together. It's not anything else but the love of feeling connected through. I think we are so lucky because we all know the joy that playing this can bring and the benefit of having something like this in our lives. And that's what keeps us all going.
And once you get past all the idiocy of people falling out over tone discussions on the internet, once you get past that, you realise that if you're into Swedish death metal or, I don't know, Chet Atkins picking, it's still the same love of the thing.
Exactly.
I mean, maybe great. Culturally you might be separated a little bit, but it only takes a short conversation to get past all of that, doesn't it?
Yep, definitely.
So, thank you very much, Morley, for saying that, and we're glad that it's helped with the inspiration.
Yeah, great, mate. Thank you.
Steve Harvey. Steve, your generosity is crazy. Thank you.
Thank you, mate.
For your generosity, man. That's crazy. He says, no question, just wanted to thank you for an awesome and inspiring experience day last week. For anybody watching, get yourself booked onto one. I think a lot of people would like to, Steve, but the wait list is... he says, you won't regret it. A special thanks to that pedal show wife. What a legend.
Yeah.
Yeah, Catherine makes those days run and keeps everyone on track. And so big thanks to Catherine for that.
Incredible.
And thanks to everyone who came on Friday and anyone who has been and will come to an experience day. We love
them. They're just brilliant. They're so much fun.
Yeah.
And everyone got an A star for their boards on Friday.
Yeah, it was a good board day, wasn't it?
Good board day. There were some
Yeah.
strong boards. It was really, really great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to. Yes. Hefe Golf. Thank you, Steve. Thank you.
Thank you, mate.
Hefe Golf. Mick, I was cutting the grass when I exclaimed, "Blimey O'Reilly." He said, "Not exactly something we say in Texas." You've transcended into my subconscious mind. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Very good.
If it's any consolation, Texas has been in my subconscious ever since I was about 9 years old and heard T-Bone Walker for the first time. And then Stevie Ray, obviously. So
Indeed.
there's a little bit of Texas in my heart. Yeah, Blimey O'Reilly. I suppose that's an Irish thing, is it?
I guess so.
Or is it a Cockney thing? Let's see.
Michael Hennessy, just looking at reading your comment, say that you've got tendonitis and it won't heal because you just keep playing. So I have suffered with this, and I remember Tom Quayle was going through a period where he was having some stuff, and I would talk to Tom about it, and we'd try different things out. Tom got some diagnosis, but I've always found, first thing I did, and this might seem a bit hippie-ish, but I started trying to get rid of anything that would cause inflammation from my diet. And I found that really helpful.
Stop right there.
Right.
What is hippie-ish about that?
Nothing. I'm just saying.
That's flipping science, mate.
It is science. It is science. I upped my water intake. I got rid of inflammation, and honestly, that solved about 80%. The other, I started getting massages on my arm, and then I bought one of those little. I bought those little TENS machines things, and that was really good. I've recently just got one of those sports therapy guns, and that's been really great as well. But seriously, I found that I got rid of, stopped eating a lot of sugar, stopped, and things, just simple things. I got rid of all the stuff that would cause inflammation, and the difference was night and day. Yeah, and silly thing. Well, it's not silly, but things like, spending 5 minutes warming up my hands has made a massive difference. So, I think a lot of people have had that experience. Don't get too down. There are ways through it. But just wishing you luck, buddy. Hope you're doing okay. Ed Airfire says, I said groovy after the cashier rang me up yesterday at the local shop. She looked at me as if I just stepped out of the doctor's police box. Brilliant.
That's funny. Herschel T says, dig those orange shoes, Mick. Yeah, I decided I want some Nike Air Force Ones because John Mayer wears them.
Right.
And some other reasons.
Yeah, but this is cool on a whole other level.
So they're expensive, right? For flipping pub shoes, they're expensive. And I decided I didn't like any of the colours they offered. So I had some, you can go onto the Nike shop and custom design them with however you want. So I added this to the back of mine.
This is amazing. It kind of, with everything else that's happened in our lives, it kind of feels official now that you've had that done.
It's a massive advert for Nike there.
That's so cool.
I don't know. I normally wear sort of more heritage footwear, traditional grown-up shoes, but I decided to buy some kid shoes and see how I get on. They have transported me to and from the pub a couple of times successfully.
Right.
I don't know, a bit like an old fart. I've always had a bit of a downer on trainers, but there you go. About 95% of the world's population wear them, so it was good service though. You just order them up, pay an extravagant amount of money, and 2 weeks later they turned up.
Great.
From Vietnam. Good. It even pairs up with the D&M, says Out of Touch. Yeah, exactly.
Very good.
Orange is our colour. Andy Horn says there's nothing wrong with being hippie-ish. Andy, I totally concur.
Yeah.
I totally concur. It's become a pejorative term for something that is in no way negative or problematic.
Yeah, totally.
Good. Anyway, let's carry on. When are they going to be available in the store? Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that?
Be amazing.
Yeah. You should sell them on the store, says Doug F. Yeah. Yeah.
We should get a couple of pairs in.
Yeah.
Can we get a couple of
Airfire.
pairs?
My favourite of Mick's shoes are the pink Converse. Yeah, they were mine too. The problem I have with Converse is they last months and then they just fall apart on me all the time. So yeah, Red Wings is my thing. If any shoe company ever wanted to sponsor us, Red Wings would be absolutely welcome to do so.
What are Red Wings?
They're like American heritage boots. You know, my red ones with the white soles and the suede ones, the work boots.
Where are the ones that you got from Tasmania?
Blundstones, yeah, they're up there. That's my everyday muckabout boot. Slowly replaced by the Red Wings, I would say.
Nice.
I bought a pair of Red Wings in 2011 and I've had them resold once.
Nice.
And they're still going. Great guns.
Awesome.
And then I got some others this a few months ago and they're just ace.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
I love shoes.
You do love shoes.
I really love shoes. Anyway, Imelda Marcos. Here we are.
Imelda Mikos.
Imelda Mikos. There it is. There it is. With apologies for all the nasty connotations that they bring up. I'd love to wear Converse, but I've got big, broad gorilla feet, says James Blessed. Yeah. Yeah. There we are. Right. DS Randlet. Hello, DS.
Hello, DS.
On the topic of overdrives, what would be fun to stack with a J-Rocket Melody OD or any other of their drives with the 6-band EQ? Well, anything. Because what that 6-band EQ offers you is the ability to shape pre or post for any other drive pedal. There was one here somewhere. Here you go. For those of you not aware, J-Rocket does a bunch of overdrives with a 6-band EQ. This one is the Melody drive, which I believe is Mark Lettieri's thing.
Yes. I think the M and the L will be a big writing or different writing because that's Mark Lettieri.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it's such a great idea. Now, I don't know if the EQ is pre or post gain stage. And
Someone will tell us.
Yeah, it might be that part of the EQ is pre and the other part is post.
Creaky leather. More tea, Vicar.
Yeah. So, again, gain staging 101, it depends on how you're using it. If you're using a 6-band, if you're using that to create a core overdrive sound, having something like, I still love putting treble boosters in front of overdrive pedals. I think it's just the best thing. If you've got a bit of, if you've got a bit of love in the overdrive pedal, like you've got the gain set to a certain point where, it's still dynamic, but it is limiting. Putting a treble booster in front, I think, can be amazing. But putting something like a clon style thing after it, we had a really, whose board was it? There's a couple of boards on Friday where they had that set up and using a clon as the boost after, and actually using a tube screamer with treble sort of turned up quite high, gain down quite low as the boost into it, and it sounded flippin' fantastic. We were experimenting with, I'm just trying to remember the gentleman's name. It might have been Sam. He had the clon, he had the tube screamer. We were experimenting with a few pedals, like main overdrive pedals. and ended up with an OCD.
Yeah.
And it just sounded magic.
I was thinking of OCD earlier when
Yeah.
when the AC/DC question came in. It's just a great crunchy,
Such a great thing.
a brilliant crunchy overdrive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Darren Ames. Darren, I hope this is you because it has gone from the
Super try.
It's gone from the chat, but BV thankfully has pasted. Ben Cove we missed. We managed to miss Ben Cove. Sorry, Ben. We'll try and find you in a second. Darren Ames, sorry, we don't have a question from you, Darren. Apologies if we've missed your question. I can't see it anywhere. But let's see. Ben Cove we missed earlier. Dan, a few months ago, but this is from Ben Cove. Dan, a few months back, you played the intro to Coma by Max Sharam.
Mm-hmm.
Could you play it again, please?
Sure. Yeah, so I toured with Max for a number of years, and you can, if you Google Max Sharam live, there's a picture of us playing on the El McFeast show.
El who?
El McFeast.
Nothing to...
No.
Who is now Doyle Bramall's girlfriend. Or Doyle Bramall is El McPherson's boyfriend.
Right.
Well battered, sir.
Yeah, so
Come on, sorry, I totally interrupted
yeah,
you.
yeah, no, that's it.
What are the chords?
It's just D minor.
Drop D.
It's a yeah. It's. I do my. Just to be flat. Yeah. And then she messaged the other day when she saw the picture of us with Noel.
No way.
Yeah. She's amazing, man. If she's ever in the UK, I'd love to get her on because she is one of the most talented people I've ever met.
Dan has said her name about 20,000 times to me in the last 10 years, and I still don't know what it is. What's her name?
Max.
M-A-X?
Yes. Sharam.
S-H-A-R-A-M?
Correct.
Max Sharam.
Yes. Yeah.
Good. I couldn't work out if it was Mac something or Max.
So the album that she had an album called Million Year Girl, and that was the one that we toured for ages, and it was amazing. We did a tour with Chris Isaac in Australia, which was incredible, and then yeah, it was an amazing experience actually because we were, it was like it's a. I think one of the singles, that song Coma was voted one of the best in the top 10 of Australian singles for, over the past 20 years or something.
Mm. Along with Land Down Under.
All that stuff. And she...
Tommy Kangaroo Down Sport.
Yeah. And it was amazing. But then I learned a really valuable lesson about being a sideman.
Disposable.
But then it's like, we just finished this tour, this Chris Isaac tour, and this is after being on the road for like a couple of years or something, and doing loads of TV and stuff. It was really fun. Then we finished that tour, and the manager said, "Okay, I'll give you a call next week and let you know when the new dates are." And then we got the call. She says, "Max is gone. She's moved to America, so that's it." I was like, okay, but I will cherish that time that I spent with her for ages. She came back and we did some other stuff, but yeah, we never toured again. We did do a 10th anniversary though, for that, because I happened to be in Australia. So we played at the Harbourside Brasserie, did an acoustic thing, and it was just awesome. So yeah, anyway, there you go. Chris Isaac is one of the funniest people I've ever met in my life.
Is he?
Him and his drummer Kenny, for 2 weeks, had us in stitches.
No way. What, like Greg Cockfunny?
Greg Cockfunny.
Really?
Greg Cockfunny.
God, you wouldn't think, would you, with
No.
all that sort of slightly morose, lamenting
Genuinely
music?
Genuinely one of the funniest people I've ever met.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and he was just an absolute sweetheart.
Nice. Airfire, Ed. Are Red Wings good for walking, Mick? Says Ed. I'm going to have to start walking a bit more to lose some weight for an American exhibition. Also, we'll need them whilst over there. I wouldn't recommend them as a walking boot, Ed. I mean, lots of people wear them day in, day out to work in and do all kinds of stuff. For a walking boot, for losing weight, I would suggest get yourself a proper walking boot.
Are those boots made for walking?
Like a boot that's designed for walking in.
Is that what they're going to do?
All over you.
Right.
Yeah.
Very good.
I mean, you can. Don't get me. I've done many miles backwards and forwards to the pub in mine, and I've worn them day in, day out, all over the place. But I would say, if it's about losing weight and you want to do some serious walking and you want good arch support, you want good all of that, get some proper walking boots. Yeah. I worked out. I reckon I do about 1,000 miles a year with a dog.
Right.
And
the hill walk in the morning is a magical thing.
You need a proper boot for that, really.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of walking.
It is. It's great.
Good. Joachim. How do you say that? Joachim.
Joachim.
Phoenix. That's him, isn't it?
Yeah.
Julius Caesar.
Yeah.
Joachim, and I apologise if I've said that wrong. Hi, Mick and Dan. Franz, he is. Confusingly enough, from Germany. Hi, Mick and Dan. Just want to say thank you, and that I'm looking forward to the Ainsley Lister concert this Thursday in Augsburg.
Awesome.
Germany. Thanks for introducing him and his music to me.
You will love it.
Be a great gig.
They're so good. And his tone is...
Go and say hello to Ains. Joachim. Oh, God, I'm so sorry. Please, someone tell me how to pronounce it. This will be Bev saying, this is how you pronounce it. No.
No.
Go and say hello to Ains. He'd be very pleased to hear from you.
Yeah.
And we hope you enjoy the gig.
Yeah, mate. That's awesome.
Josh Van Sickle, just sending some bucks and good vibes. Thank you, John.
Oh, cheers, buddy.
That's very kind of you, man. OCE Pedals. And thank you for your generosity as well. Wow. Leg Ends, finally made one of these live. I'm usually busy starting my day animating on SpongeBob.
Oh, my goodness.
Get out of town.
That's great. That is having kids, right? And every now and then there's an animated thing that...
Just changes the game.
It changes the game,
yeah.
Right? And for me... It was SpongeBob, and there's another one that's set in America. Andy Demos, where he lives.
Oregon.
Anyway, it'll come to me. But SpongeBob, because everyone knows who SpongeBob is, right? But the writing in it is so creative. It's so funny. Gravity Falls is the other one. Genius.
Okay.
Absolute genius.
Let's see. Walking says music therapy Laz. Jonathan Burton says my German friend with that name says Yorzim.
Okay. Joaquin, someone else said. No. Walking. Anyway.
Yeah.
Great.
2P, the Fenderman 77 says Merrells are good for walking boots. I second Merrells for walking boots, says Stanislav Migra. Yes, I do have at least one pair of Merrells.
OCE Pedal says, if you're ever in Los Angeles, maybe we could do a tour of the Nickelodeon animation studio. Yes, we could.
We're totally on for it. Anyway, he continues. Mick, we met at NAMM actually. Mark Hopkins introduced us when you were on the Jam booth. Thanks for all you guys do and deserve. You deserve all the good. Yes, I remember.
Thank you, buddy.
I do remember. And I think we spoke about maybe getting some pedals.
Amazing.
Yeah. Nickelodeon, that would be very cool, wouldn't it?
Be great. I do find all that stuff fascinating. So we were fortunate enough some years ago to have hooked up with our mate John Achenbach, who is the most amazing artist. I'm looking for out. Here we go. So John was one of the art director for The Simpsons, and he does a lot of the custom work for the jam pedals. And John did us this one. So this is the what's it called?
Ripley Fall.
The Ripley Fall. Check this out. Check this out. This is amazing. So Mick and me about to be eaten by a giant fish. Isn't that cool?
I also got Harmonious Monk. John did. Just amazing work. And
amazing work. And John's a really great guitar player. Like plays with some really heavy hitters in LA. And he said, "Would you guys like a tour of the Simpsons studio?"
We said, "Nah, busy.
Nah,
sorry."
Come on.
We were supposed to be going to NAMM on the Sunday. We were like, "No, yes, we shall go to Burbank and go to the Simpsons studio."
And it was incredible.
It was bonkers.
Yeah,
it was nice to see John. I saw him at NAMM again this year. He's been off doing the Beavis and Butthead movie, I think. And I think he said I don't know if I should say. But anyway, it was nice to see John again.
Yeah, he's such a great guy.
Morning, lads, says Noah Hugo or Jugao. Morning, lads. 2 a.m. here in Sydney. After years of watching, I pulled the trigger and my Kingsley page showed up yesterday. It does not disappoint.
No, it will not disappoint.
I was only semi-surprised to see one on Noel Gallagher's board.
Right.
Because Noel is, shall we say, passionate yet unromantic about pedals.
Yes.
On his main touring board is a DD3, couple of Strymon things, very utility. But he was quite fizzy about the page.
Well, I got a text from a mate of mine, and the message is, so you know your old Echo Drive, because the blue Echo Drive he had.
Okay.
So he said, you know your old Echo Drive I had? When you meet Noel, now he owns it.
Oh, that's yours.
That's my old Echo Drive. So I'm like, are you kidding? He says, no, 100%. That's your old Echo Drive.
Wow.
So, yeah, the old blue Echo Drive.
We didn't do a kind of pedalboard run through in the traditional sense because it didn't, the way the conversation went didn't really lend itself to that. And Noel's not really the kind of guy who would go through it in that sort of detail. It was a little more interspersed with other conversations.
Yeah.
I still can't. I didn't believe it was happening when it was confirmed. I didn't believe it was happening while it was there. I've processed most of the media and I still don't believe it happened.
I cannot wait for everyone to see it. And I can't wait to relive it watching it.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of information that came out that you won't find anywhere else.
Anywhere else.
Like you'll have never seen Noel like this before. As a sneak preview, we got there, and I'd been corresponding with Noel and his PA, and she's like, let us know, give us an idea of what you want. I said, yeah, well, we want to talk about, a little about historical stuff and about high-flying birds and stuff. And she said, any songs in particular? I said, oh, well, would like to know about eras and, and these things. Anyway, the songs that I had mentioned and the eras that I mentioned, they bought the rigs in. So we walked in there and Noel had bought out the rig that he recorded Definitely Maybe with, and it hadn't been out of the lockup for like 30 years. And he had the rig there. And so we walked in and it's like, is this actually happening? And he plugged in where we were in the control room, and he started playing Cigarettes and Alcohol, and it was like, that's it.
It was pretty surreal, I have to say.
And then he had his live rig from Nebworth, the AC50 to the Marshall cabinet.
Part of it.
Yeah, we didn't have. Yeah,
There was a lot of rigs on stage at Nebworth. From memory.
But he had that and the AC30, and it was just. And then it starts bringing out the guitars. So you're in for a treat. It was really, really great.
Yeah, this is the guitar I wrote the whole of. What's the story?
Glory, Morning Glory on. Yeah, this is the.
I wrote Champagne Supernova on this guitar.
One. This one I wrote Wonderwall on. Here you go, try it out. Oh mate.
Yeah, it's pretty bonkers.
It really was.
Anyway, KJ Photo. Hello, KJ. Mick, thoughts on installing a bass plate on the bridge pickup of a Strat to fatten it up? Cheers from the Big Apple. Cheers to the Big Apple. I miss New York, actually. I've been there a bit and flipping love New York.
It's just the best place.
Well, as a tourist who doesn't have to live there and go on the subway every day, I love New York. I know people who do it. Matt Schofield has a bass plate on some, if not all, some of his Strats, which sounds really killer. I personally don't have any need to fatten up the bridge pickup of a Strat. I like it as it is, with a bit of volume. That said, in here when we record, next to Dan's telly, it is one of the reasons I end up playing humbuckers a bit more is because the Strat just needs. The way I play the Strat is I probably have my amps twice as loud as Dan and the pedals. But because the guitar is so much less output and I don't play quite as hard, I lean on the amps and pedals a lot more to get the volume and texture that I need. So when we're playing through the same amp with the same pedals, I often can't keep up on the Strat. So that's why often I end up playing humbuckers, which also works for the show because then somebody hears some humbuckers. But in my rig, I don't require any more.
No.
I would say get one and put it in there and see if you notice much difference and if you like it. For those who don't know, if you look on the bottom of a standard single coil telly bridge pickup, you'll see it's copper, is it? Base plate, copper plated something, base plate, which changes the tone. You can get Strat pickups that have the same thing. In fact, Seymour Duncan do one called a twang banger from memory. But I rather suspect, I think doesn't Lindy Fraylin do one or does them as standard or something like that. Lots of companies will do them. Try it. I've never had one in a Strat, so I don't know. Try it.
Worth a try.
I don't actually know what they do. I don't know what the actual effect is. If anyone does, let me know.
It'd be something about changing because you're joining all the magnets up. So something about the magnetic field. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe makes the magnets more. I don't know. I just literally don't know. I'll stop there. Noah Jugo again, or Juggo. Actually, he's Australian, so it's definitely Juggo.
Juggo.
He says, Dan, have you tried the treble boost in the Thorpe Veteran?
Yeah, it's awesome. I've got two, actually. I've got an original germanium one, and then I got the silicon one as well, and they're wonderful. Stuff is so good.
Steve Mass, hello Steve, how are you? He says the YouTube algorithm threw me a Paul Davids collab where Dan played some tasty Dan licks over a nice chord change. It put a smile on my face.
I remember doing that, and that was in my old house, recorded in COVID, and I just had the worst time trying to film anything, and it looks awful. It sounded all right, but I remember calling you saying I can't film like this. It was like the camera was right here, and I'm trying to get, and And then I got one really magic take. I thought, yes, I'd done it. The camera would run out like 10 seconds before I started playing. And I did one, it wasn't in focus. So anyway, that was, but thank you very much. That was an honor to be asked. Really, really fun. Then you did one with Paul as well.
Yeah. Paul said I had to do a heavy riff, and he gave it to people who don't normally play heavy. So I did a heavy riff that was average. And Chris Buck
that sounded great.
Played a damn solo and stole the show. And it's like, no, it wasn't a solo. It was a riff. Anyway, no, it's good. It was good. He makes great videos, does Paul Davids.
He does.
Mike2203. Hi, Mike. He says, Mike's been to Experience Day here at... in fact, Mike's been to 2 Experience Days.
He has.
He says, where should a Boss RC1 looper go in a wet, dry, wet layout? How would this be configured if you had a G3? Happy anniversary to Dan and Martine.
Oh, thank you, buddy. The RC1, I believe it's stereo. So you'd put it in a stereo loop at the end, or put it after everything. You could literally put it after everything and have it going to the wet, and then just have your dry separate. Or you have it going to the dry and just have the loop going into the dry.
It is stereo, yes.
Right. So I would put it either in a stereo loop at the end, or like after everything. You might need to isolate one of the outputs, but because you've got to step on anyway to get the timing and everything right. I'd probably have it going into all your wet stuff. Yes, so 2 ways you can do it. Have it stereo right at the end, have it in a stereo loop, or just have the looper in mono in the dry amplifier. But try the stereo one first. I think would be great. Yes, Mike has been... Mike came to a couple of Experience Days, and yeah, lovely guy. We had a real revelation actually in his rig. We were talking about the buffer, thing the other day.
Yeah.
And he had like 10 buffers in a row. So check this out. Just took out one pedal and played it on its own. It's like, oh wow. So yeah, really, really interesting. Marco Hennessy says, I'm dying to do an Experience Day. We'd love to have you, mate.
They do sell out a bit quickly.
Yeah, they do.
We can only do so many for obvious reasons, because otherwise we won't get any videos filmed. And we've decided that 6 people is a really good number because everyone gets plenty of time during the day. If it was more than 6, it would be hard to manage, and maybe some people wouldn't get enough time. And if it's less than 6, it can feel more like a, I don't know. There is a nice group feeling in 6. So if we do one a month, 6 people, then that's only however many a year. So it is necessarily limited space.
You know what would be fun though? I don't know how we do this, but I'd love to try it.
You're talking about some sort of small scale event, Dan?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd love to do one here and do one in America.
Right.
Annually. Book. So I used to go and play like 80s weekends and stuff at Centre Parks with Doug. And
I'll start drawing up the waiver forms.
I've done a few of those events, and they're great. And I reckon we could get Andy out, get a few people out.
When you say we, you mean Catherine, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, the royal we is Catherine. But I just think, over a weekend.
It would be awesome.
It would be incredible.
It would be completely awesome.
Get some pedal makers to get involved.
Butlins. It has to be at Butlins.
We'll do it at Centre Parks. It's the same thing.
Centre Parks is way too posh.
No. Butlins is no. We couldn't do it at Butlins.
Why not?
Do it at Centre Parks. Honestly,
Butlins do adult weekenders.
Yeah, but by the time
You couldn't do it. I don't think you could do it at Centre Parks.
Yeah, all the events that I've done have been at Centre Parks.
Really?
Yeah.
Off season, presumably.
It might be.
That place is always full of people with loads of money.
The Marillion weekend
Is
was
it
at Centre
Butlins?
Parks.
That was at Butlins.
The Marillion weekend I did was Centre Parks. Was brilliant.
It's totally at Butlins. Butlins Minehead.
Okay, Butlins Minehead it is. Brilliant. We'll go as redcoats.
That was Pontins, wasn't it?
I don't know.
I think
it was like Heidi High.
They
So
were Yellow Jackets.
they were yellow jackets.
Yeah,
No,
like
they
Mike
were
Stern.
redcoats, weren't
It was
they?
Mike Stern.
Right, fair enough.
Anyway.
Eric Steinhausen says, tap into America. Yeah, would love to do it.
Yeah,
Be great.
yeah.
TPS Con. Yeah, come on. Who's into that? Who would come? If we did one in the UK and one in America, who would come?
Ed is quite rightly saying Mick is having an aneurysm just thinking about this.
Oh, it'd be great. It'd be great fun.
It would be good, actually. It would be good fun. If we could go somewhere where we could play loud, we weren't
Exactly.
compromised by rubbish situations.
Have gigs the whole weekend. Like starting from after lunch right through to like 2 o'clock in the morning.
No music, mate, just guitar.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Musicians Against Music. That's my new pressure group I've decided to start. Right. Yeah, there's Michael Giliberto, Rich Franks is in, James Blest is in, OCE Pedals is in.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Right, 7. We've got 7. Let's go.
That's enough.
That's enough. Brilliant.
If they all bring a mate, that's 14.
Oh, Nathan Lundy Maynard says, do it in New York. Can you imagine doing it in New York? It'd be great. Oh, hang on. There is a place in New York. So, do you know Doug Doppler? Yeah, so he did an event
I'm
with
sure we can
someone.
find somewhere to do
It'd
it
be
in New York.
Oh, come on, it'd be amazing.
We could do it on the top of Trump Tower, like the Beatles on the Apple Building. Anyway, Hender9 says, is it technically feasible to create a G3 with 100 loops? Is cost the only barrier? My whole pedal collection always hooked up. What a fun fantasy.
Totally feasible. You'd have a G3 with a G3 in every loop. Then you could move everything around. Totally, cost is the only barrier.
Yeah, but could you make one with 100 loops?
One G3.
Yeah.
It'd be like, it'd be 8 G3s. But they'd be in separate. Yeah, could totally do it.
There you go.
Totally do it.
Sounds like Hender9, a custom order is forthwith. How much would that be then? It would be
It's a lot of money.
yeah, about 50 grand.
Yeah, there you go. It wouldn't be that much.
Dan, come on, 50 grand. I think it's a fair price.
50 grand. Done. Brilliant.
Simon Hosford, hello Simon. He says, no question, just a big hello from Melbourne, Australia, Dan and Mick. Thanks for all the fascinating content.
Oh, you're so welcome, mate. I love Melbourne. St Kilda, one of my favourite places.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, really great.
Thank you, Simon. Thank you for your kind words
buddy.
and your generosity. Aaron is last in tonight, Albus Band. Aaron says, we'd love to talk, but we've got to go sit in the lobby and wait for the limo. On a sadder note, he says, last week we lost my dear friend CGS to ALS, and I simply want to say I love him and I love you. Happy anniversary, Dan. Yeah, so CGS was it who I'm thinking of? Because Mike, yes, Mike Milton, the China guitar skeptic, died.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Forgive us for not knowing more about that. We didn't know Mike. I met him once very, very briefly on a Toman thing many, many years ago. So Sorry for not having more info on that, but thanks for the mention, Aaron. We appreciate that. I know Henning Pauly posted a video. Lots of people have been talking about it. So our deepest condolences and best wishes to family and friends of Mike. Yeah. China Mike, says the Mog. Yes, that's, I think, how most people knew him, wasn't it? Right. Y'all, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
This Friday's video will not be Noel Gallagher, just in case any of you are wondering about that. I don't think we can turn it around in time. It may be something else. Neymar, how about that?
Indeed.
Yeah. Okay, just seeing any last comments. Robert Lewis says, now Catherine's having an aneurysm. Yes, indeed. An acoustic experience day, says David Walls. That's quite a nice idea. Yeah, groovy. Right. A few people asking, could we do it in Alpine Valley? Which, as someone pointed out, is where Stephen Koppelkam and PD says Alpine Valley is a good place to do it. That's where Stevie Ray played his last gig. Before the fateful helicopter ride. Levi F. What do you think of headrush boards? I've never played one.
Headrush boards.
Headrush do a thing, don't they? Like a modelling thing.
Oh, okay. That the line 6 thing.
Yeah, headrush. Something or other. Yeah, not mine and Dan's thing. We tend not to go for that stuff, so we remain ignorant to it. Right. Thank you for being here, everyone. So I've made an arbitrary decision on dinner tonight, Dan.
Meat feast?
It's a meat feast of sorts. We're going to have burgers.
Yeah, come on.
But also with some crispy chicken, Korean chicken wings, and various accoutrements to accompany.
I love it.
Good. Yeah. Thank you for being with us, everyone. We shall see you on Friday for more pedal-related silliness. In the meantime, Dan's got his funk on. Dan wants to do a show about funk. He wanted to do it tomorrow, but I said I need more time to prepare. Look how you're making those meters go in the red. See you next week.